Yeah. Help out Lady Stoneheart with getting that shit reinstated. Boom, found your connection. Let's move on. Thank you.
Get out of my face with that shit. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series, Reading a Storm of Swords. As always, I'm your host, Zach, and sitting here with me is my brother Nate. I thought I saw a flash on your computer, and it startled me, because we have bad luck with computers.
Yeah, just the wavelengths. You're doing a lot of weird pauses. It's freaking me out, man. It's freaking me out. But if you joined us last episode, we were reading Sansa 3. Don't look at me like that. Fucking, that's a loud look, you son of a bitch. And Sansa 3 was cool.
No, it wasn't.
It was terrible. She got married, and it was awful. I hated that chapter.
Yeah, it was gross.
Year.
This episode, though, we're reading Arya 5. This is, again, one of our lost episodes that we are re-recording, and so it's been a hot minute. This was a great chapter.
It was a great episode, so sorry if this one comes off wonky. As we mentioned, it's happening.
We had left Arya. She was making her way through the Riverlands with the Brotherhood Without Banners, and mainly Harwin, Gendry, Lem, Angai, that crew. And they ended up at Lady Smallwood's, where some revelry was had because they're all lustful, sinful bastards. But terrible. Arya was given a dress, which she muddied up as she does, and then she actually felt bad for doing so because Lady Smallwood's daughter may be fucking dead for all she knows. Yeah. She's away from her currently.
But we did also learn that the Brotherhood is last rumored, or at least Berric was last rumored to be down by the Stoney Sept.
Yeah.
That's what
we're picking up here, is that Stoney Sept is the largest town that Arya has ever seen. And Harwin tells her the Battle of the Bells, the battle that her father fought here famously.
Yeah, which is a really cool little story, because
one of my favorites.
Robert got injured here during the Rhaegar insurrection.
It's very guerrilla warfare. Robert
He's
retreated
out
here,
in,
hid here, was getting healed up by some medics here.
And John Connington shows up to bring him the hand. So this is one of our, he's been mentioned here and there, but I think this is where Martin's probably really starting to realize what he wants John Conn to be doing.
Develop, John Conn's relationship with Rhaegar and all that, yep.
So he comes in to capture Robert and is well on his way. A few named people die who I didn't write down.
But if you look to the fucking east, here comes Lord Eddard and Grandfather Tully and Hoster. And
they wrecked the place.
Battle was engaged on the streets, in the alleys, even on the rooftops. This was fucking chaotic. This was crazed, and the Septons began to ring the bells so that the small folk would know to shut and lock their doors, stay the fuck inside. Shit's getting whacked.
So crazy battles going on.
Robert hears the bells and is like, "Oh, I'm fucking getting in this shit." And he slew 6 men that day, including Miles Mooton, a knight, and Prince Rhaegar's squire. And John Conn himself
fled,
wounded Hoster, and also killed the Darling of the Vale, one of the Arryns, which is interesting to me, just because the Arryns and John Conn very much so are prevalent players where we're at in heading into the end. So I wonder if that might have anything to do.
I think it's interesting. I think it might already, and that's technically what's led to Harry the Heir even being an heir. Because had this guy been around.
I'm wondering if, politically it's going to come up, fuck you, John Conn.
Well, I was going to say, with John Conn coming down from the south, trying to get people to root for
Aegon, whichever, yeah.
Is he going to be able to gain the support?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
And I don't know, because motherfucker's dead. John Arryn's dead, and it's Harry the Heir, who's much more... He's younger. He's of a new generation where it may be Fagon's got the right idea.
But Littlefinger also has his dick in that pot.
For now.
It'll be interesting to see that come up, but I for sure think that will be
so it was really neat seeing John Conn brought up here, but Robert attributes the victory to Ned 100%. This is Ned who won this battle for us. We wouldn't have succeeded if it weren't for him that day. And so because I think Arya was unfamiliar with the story, so he was a little surprised. But again, similar to Bran with the Mira story, Ned didn't brag about his victories or his stories. Didn't talk much about his past and what happened. He wasn't necessarily proud of it.
Arya, again, showing her astuteness, picks up on signs of recent battle.
I have to correct that. It's not that he wasn't necessarily proud of his past. It's that it would probably lead to questions that he doesn't want to answer.
Right?
Nothing to do with his.
Territory.
Like, he's absolutely, I'm sure, proud of his accomplishments and achievements, but
he's not. He wears it like a fucking heavy cloak because he has to lie to everybody, and Ned Stark doesn't like lying to everybody. So it absolutely is that. Just don't fucking bring it up, and I don't have to lie through default, essentially. But it's super big in Ned's character. But Arya, begins to notice that there was recent battle here as well, and it's just super astute. Just in the fact that the gate has been recently repaired. It's fresh boards, and she sees the old ones. Like, someone's been here hacking at the Stoney Sept as well. A captain of the gate lets them in, and they begin to talk of the Huntsman and the wolves and the mummers that have been looking for food, plunder.
That there's just the concept of the Huntsman in this storyline, because I don't know how much inspiration Martin drew from other iterations of a huntsman, quote unquote.
Right, the fairy tale.
Right, and so just that idea of this character in this world and what he's capable of.
Well, the brutality.
And then we hear the number of dogs that he's running with. It also makes me think very much of Arya and Nymeria with the pack that he's running around with.
Interestingly enough, I wasn't intending to go there this early. It makes me think of the only other place we've seen such depravity, which is Slaver's Bay and Dany's shit, where like people are being put in fucking these brutal cages to.
So I was thinking of Varamir with this guy. Maybe the Huntsman's some kind of a southern.
I think he's more of a prelude to Ramsay. Like these are the type of people that are starting to crop up and thrive in this environment. Is these
savage people that are brutal,
who are more of
so
a
maybe he should be
pack.
Attributed more to the Hound with the Huntsman style.
See, the Hound is getting out of that life though,
right? And that's what's funny. And so as he's getting out of it, it's like people need to take over the mantle.
The Hound helmet is one of our favorite fucking things with Lem.
And so people are looking to fill that void that he is leaving in his. And so these savage people are. It's cool.
You hunt with hounds type of thing. Yeah.
It's also neat seeing, since I mentioned Varamir, these Southerners that are getting named similar to the northern wildlings who are savage animals. They're beasts.
Because that's what they say is that it's wolves and mummers that have been coming looking for food, plunder, or women to rape, or the Kingslayer. And word is that he slipped right through Lord Edmure's hands, and then everyone's kind of like, Lord Edmure, did Hoster die? And they're like, dead or dying, don't fucking matter. No one's seen him. He's not making decrees. It's
and so
Lord
Edmure's taking over.
He's already viewed. That's very significant. His father's not dead. Lordship has not passed.
But he's so decrepit that there's
already,
nothing he can do.
People are already beginning to see Edmure as the target and B, the Lord of Riverrun now. He's the man. You get Edmure and you've got Riverrun type of thing. And the Huntsman had taken his dogs out to sniff the Kingslayer out near the Blackwater because, he's obviously going to try to make his way back to King's Landing. So Lem points out that Jaime's no fucking use to anyone dead and that the Huntsman better well know that as well. And so they head in, but the Westerman, or the captain tells him that the Westerman raped the Huntsman's wife and sister, torched his crops, and ate a bunch of his animals and then butchered the rest just cause.
Yeah, he's not going to be too worried about any repercussions because he got a little brutal with Jaime Lannister.
But the Brotherhood gets kind of prickly at this immediately, which is the first sign that there's
something going on in the Riverlands
starting to happen that are fractures are starting to come through.
Which is interesting to spot right now where the Brotherhood is still fairly united. This crew specifically of the Brotherhood.
Right.
Because later on you're going to see things like Lem donning the helmet of the Hound, and they're going to be part of the Savage group with Lady Stoneheart, who will be getting soon. But they make their way through town.
It's fucking blackened shells,
and trash. And Arya comments on this, but Anguy or Harwin, I forget which one, is like, no, it's not vacant. They're just shy. Yeah. They're they need to see who's arriving before they decide that they're coming out and it's safe.
Yeah. She points out, Anguy points out some bowmen to her on the roofs defending, and then someone shouts down to Lem, and everybody kind of starts coming out. It reminds me of the fucking Munchkins from Munchkin, like, ooh, it's safe, okay. And in the market square stands a fountain, as well as a few crow cages. So first, the fountain. Because I immediately thought a maiden pool. in the fountain that Jaime and Brienne came upon, choked with corpses.
So there's also the fountain in Dany's chapter when she comes up and talking about the water there.
Right.
But isn't it dried up, that fountain, at that time? Because she runs into a fountain in the City of Bones, or the city out in the desert,
right.
and that one's all dried up. And so it's interesting now.
Well,
there's all these fountains
in the Riverlands, either it's tainted with dead women. And the maiden pool, right, as Jaime made the joke, or there's men in crow cages and the water flows freely. It's
because there's also been instances of the dead bodies in the rivers and going upstream, so that way you're not drinking the fucking.
Well, I mean,
corpses,
especially in Dany's chapters, these of this book, water equals life right now to a lot of people, and so to make them sit there and hear it, see it. The trickling of water over and over.
It's torture in its own mental
way. It's just as brutal as the slavers of Slaver's Bay and what they do, nailing people up to posts in the sun and making them...
So since we're kind of on that anyway, we'll get to them. They get to the cages and see the men in the cages.
Yeah, Lem and Tom are immediately like, the fuck
what
is
this shit? And they learn that the Huntsman's been caging some of them because they've been raping and pillaging, and they're like, Berric is not okay with this shit. He's for quick served justice, end it. And they're all, like you said, they're sitting there listening to the sounds of the water.
Right.
Martin
paints this scene so good, too, with the fountain being there, because it hits hard at the end when Anguy finally ends their suffering. The only sound is the trickling of the water, and it's just so well painted.
So Arya gives them water.
Well, hold on, because the captain calls him, he says it was the Huntsman who captured these wolves, and Arya goes fucking cold at that, because she's like, they're Robb's men and my father's, so it's still that...
Yeah.
Ned Stark is the patriarch, but also just that, fuck. Arya is starting to have the realization. Again, we often like to call it back to the ending of the show, take it for what it was, but the fact that the the Northmen, are never ever painted as inherently fucking good. Like,
right, they're
these are Robb's men doing this shit.
Medieval men.
Arya doesn't know about the split between the Freys and the Boltons and all that, obviously, but these are Northmen doing it. It's just as savage, and so it's just that realization of like, fuck, my people did this or are doing this, have deserved this. But yeah, she moves closer, drawn to the cages. She takes in the brutality and doesn't really seem too fazed by it, even though one dude legit just had his dick eaten off because he was the raper. And she asks who they were and what they had done. And they had killed 8 people at Tumbler's Falls. They wanted the Kingslayer, but when he wasn't there, they did some rape and murder instead. And Arya thinks, wolves like me, are they my pack? And she wants to hit them, hurt them, and then she wants to cry. So this is a... Fuck, Arya's age eludes me at this point, but
11, maybe
9,
at
10,
this point?
Yeah.
Maybe, I think she's younger than that, 9, 10.
9, 10-year-old. 1, looking at the brutality here, and then 2, trying to process it, and we see that there. She wants to fucking hit him, she wants to hurt him, and then she wants to cry, because what the fuck does this mean? What does this say about me? Should I be proud to be a Stark? Should I ever reveal that I'm a Stark?
Right.
Like, should I go back to that? Maybe Gendry's right, and... when I offered him to serve Robb, that would mean he'd end up in a fucking crow cage because he'd be off raping bitches. Like, it's just this crisis of identity in a girl who's already having
the most significant identity crisis of the fucking land.
And it's fucking insane. But she instead, as you said, gets a cup of water.
Now, this is where things start getting fucking wild on Martin's end. So she gets up and starts giving them all water before they're
the
put out of their
like,
summer.
nah.
They're like, go fuck
Lem
off.
and Harwin are like, yo, fuck you.
And
leave
so she
her
gives
alone.
them the water. Now, this is this is one of the most qualifying traits for her to be a faceless man. This is exactly what they do in that.
It's the mercy, right?
She's giving them the drink of
Comfort,
water just before the death, and it's not something that was ever taught to her by a faceless man yet.
It's
similar to when she saw them, the terrible people, Jack and Biter and Rorge in the fucking cage and trapped. She was compelled to go. Burning alive in a cage is not the way that anybody should go. Here, let me help you, even though it's risking my life and you're terrible people. Yeah. And so her doing that...
there's an argument to be made that, because I obviously have made it known that I'm a fan of Arya maybe losing herself in the assassin and losing the Stark bit of herself. There's obviously the argument to be made that she does have compassion and that it's not fucking her up. But that's not to say
she's not fucked up.
It's not repressed and hasn't come out yet because she hasn't had the capabilities of using sexuality as a weapon, as, understanding a little bit more the intricacies between man and women relationships and how to manipulate those. And so it's here, her instinct is to go and help and heal and provide that mercy. Once she has the tool sets of a trained, skilled assassin, whether or not that's what I think her struggle is absolutely leading to is the climax of Arya's story is, so can she walk away from this better as a person?
Along these same veins, the interesting thing that I wrote down here that got me really thinking is we know that in the future, and you had mentioned him earlier, Ramsay Bolton will be marrying quote-unquote Arya Stark. And she clearly is not okay with this cage them up, and torture them. Yeah. No. Swift, clean deaths are what are deserved. So how much impact do you think that, because I was thinking of how much more brutal she's going to be now that I consider that's all Ramsay likes to do is torture and fucking keep these people at the very breadth of fucking life and then bring them back just to keep on doing it. And it's the opposite of what she stands for by what it looks like, the way her morals are developing. That
I do believe.
So for it being particularly her that's being replaced.
Oh, right.
And then
Arya's going to be pissed at that. So I think, and I believe there's a theory floating around out there somewhere. And if not, I'm a fucking genius right now off the spot.
Fuck
but I'm pretty sure there is, that Jane Poole is going to, because it's been speculated, rumored.
1 week since you looked at me.
Sure, that too. Confirmed, in quotes, that Jane Poole will be appearing in, or not Jane Poole, sorry, Jane Westerling will be appearing
in the prologue.
And
supposedly.
That opened up a very interesting, wide scope for me as far as if she were to get somehow out, and I believe there's precedence for that, for someone rescuing Jane Westerling, damn it, that Arya would very much so see that as an opportunity, as a face to wear. Now, Jane Poole is someone that Arya doesn't forget right off the bat, because she remembers her right along Sansa.
Well, she was Sansa's best friend. They were attached at the hip up in Winterfell.
And so, what better person to give the gift of mercy and then take their face?
Right.
Because we know, and it's fucking awful, but we know how fucked up Ramsay is to these women. I mean, he made Lady Hornwood eat her fucking fingers.
I don't think Arya would kill Jane Poole.
I
can see why.
I think if Jane Poole begged for it, she would, and was broken and absolutely. And
I just feel like that's going to be part of Theon's redemption thing, is because
we need to understand how the Faceland thing works for this theory to work, because do they need to be dead for her to take the face?
Which we're not certain on based on
I
show
could
stuff,
absolutely see it being Arya who gives Ramsay the comeuppance that
I think that's what it'll be, but I don't know that Jane. My only reasoning for Jane not begging for death is I feel like that's going to be directly tied with Theon, and if he rescues her and she's broken, then he's ultimately failed. He's still, just because he gets her out of the situation, if he gets her out too late to where she wants the death, then what else can you possibly do to redeem yourself?
What would snap Theon out of it more than walking into his master's chamber seeing Arya Stark cutting his fucking throat.
That'd be sick. That's gonna be sick.
And Arya turns to him and says, "You're coming with me. You're useful to get out of here.
Right.
Shut the fuck up and do what I say."
That's cool.
He's gonna do it. Like,
Right,
so
right.
I don't see. I absolutely get the Theon Jane Poole that, but Theon needs something more. There's still got to be one more push. There's of course, the hooded man.
Granted, I also have to remember that Theon right now is in Stannis' captivity.
That's true too.
And
fucking
not
hell,
there
right?
with Jane
but,
Poole,
but,
so
you know,
who knows what circumstances
there's
will...
so many moving parts.
Right.
And that too, Arya has to move quickly to
if she's going to even
get
be
involved
because we don't know
with
where
Ramsay,
she is.
right.
Technically, she could still be over in Bravos and
all the way through. But we digressed hard on that one.
Yeah, sorry.
I really like the idea of potentially,
because that's what I was wondering when she was doing this, and then I started thinking, well, he tortures, and he's torturing somebody that's pretending to be her, forced to pretend to be her.
Right.
And so
He absolutely belongs on her list.
Is just,
yeah.
I feel like she's gonna fuck his life up. I hope so.
And so,
Anyway.
Harwin and Gendry help her up, and she begins pouring the water. A crowd begins to gather as she serves two others.
Yeah, and this is where Anguy and Lem are like, this is not okay with Berric. This ends now, and puts each one out of their misery, and puts arrows through their chins.
And Arya just thinks, Valar Morghulis.
And again, obviously, to add that little bit onto my statements there, that she's just already prepping to become a faceless man with all these things. So it makes me wonder that Jaqen had always known from the moment he met her that she's capable of filling this role that we need.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, it makes me think that Jaqen isn't as crazy in tune with everything, that he's more of, for the House of Black and White, he's their Yoren. He's their recruiter. He goes out and finds these particulars and pulls them in, but
yeah,
who knows?
So they end up heading over to a ramshackle, but it'll make do inn, and even though the innkeep begins fussing over all of them and invites them in, and even though Arya had bathed twice at Acorn Hill,
this is my next big divergence. My only other one.
She still gets what's up before this one?
No, right here, this part that you just started breezing through. As she's bringing everyone into the inn, she tells Lem, I see you're still wearing that filthy, gross yellow cloak.
If you were to wash it out.
Wash
the piss out.
Then it would be as white as snow, and everybody would know that you're actually a Kingsguard. And one of my favorite theories is Lonmouth, friend of Rhaegar, Kingsguard member, feeling ashamed at lack of being able to assist or betrayed or whatever the case may be, and is actually Lemon Cloak, wearing his old dyed Kingsguard cloak. So I think that was Martin's sneaky. Now, I didn't come up with that shit and find that myself. I just have read it a million times because I love the idea.
I'm less familiar with this one, but why would Richard Lonmouth end up serving Lady Stoneheart?
So because he went out to assist with finding Rhaegar, went with Rhaegar to find Lyanna after the Night of and so he was privy to their relationship and that she was dope as fuck. And so when he forewent his Kingsguard stuff to save his life, he was still cool with Lyanna and Rhaegar, and so here's Mama Lyanna fucking seeking vengeance throughout the Riverlands, where he's been getting a bit more savage because he's donned the Hound's helm and has taken that persona on. So I think it fits in there somehow.
The wife of the man who was alongside the man who led the rebellion that got his buddy killed.
But stretch. That his best buddy was in love with the daughter of, or the sister of.
The sister of, but
and so
how does that translate to this undead crazy woman?
Well, what's her motives right now is that what we would have to figure out to be able to even discuss that, to know why he's aligned with her, whether it's we want to get not just the Starks in power, because why would we want to do that? Maybe he's aware of some Stark lineage, or maybe because that goes along with the GNC, I believe, where there's the will written by Robb that would then state that Jon is now, and if he's aware that Lyanna and Rhaegar were the parents, Lemon Cloak here might be privy to that information, then of course he's going to want to get fucking Rhaegar's boy back in power. Yeah. Help out Lady Stoneheart with getting that shit reinstated. Boom, found your connection. Let's move on. Thank you.
Get out of my face with that shit. So Arya, even though she had bathed twice at Acorn Hill, and tells them that it does not save her from being scrubbed and dressed up like one of Sansa's dolls. Interesting. Just, again, those comparisons of the dresses and finer things immediately to Sansa.
So speaking of Sansa and dresses and finer things, I had flipped over my notebook and got myself confused thinking I was looking at Arya notes, and just the very last word at the bottom says whores.
Yeah, close, because in the common room,
right,
all dressed up, she recalls Syrio's trick of looking and seeing what was actually there.
Syrio, my boy!
So she begins seeing lots of servant girls, way too many for a normal tavern, and then lots of men, though none of them linger, and they all kind of go off in pairs. So she turns to Gendry conspiratorially, and she's like, I bet this is a brothel. I think this is a brothel. And he's like, you don't know what the fuck a brothel is.
But I'm pretty sure this is one. I'm pretty sure I know.
And he says, getting red, that if this is a brothel, it's no place for a highborn lady. And then a servant girl sits beside Gendry and reveals that King Robert loved to fuck her mother when he was here, and he liked my ma the best.
So I'm probably his daughter. Sup, I'm a princess. And Arya's like, you're not a fucking princess. Shut the fuck up.
Arya thinks the girl does have the king's coal-black hair, but that doesn't mean anything. Gendry has the same hair.
Awesome.
Lots of people have black hair.
So I'm pretty sure at this point it's already, like, we know for a fact based on Ned and, like, all the different things there. And so I just love Martin putting this little... I don't even want to call it an Easter egg, but Arya not recognizing, even though she's openly stating the exact thing. Like, no, because, yeah, she has the same hair, but that could mean anything. Gendry has the king's hair.
What? Also, this probably is one of his...
I was thinking that 100% that this is actually likely.
Very much so.
Because I was thinking about that when
Which makes it... even grosser.
Right. When she starts hitting
well,
on
her
Gendry.
name is Bella, because she, Battle of the Bells, Robert was all fucking horned up, so he really gave it to her mother. Ugh.
Right about the right age, most likely.
And so she was named Bella for the Battle of the Bells, so she offers to ring Gendry's bell a little bit.
And he gets upset about that and storms the fuck off.
And I like it. She's like, he doesn't like girls.
And she's like, no, he likes polishing his helmet.
Yeah.
Which...
And hitting things with hammers, yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay.
So the girl immediately goes over and has
that
fun
moment
with Jack
was made a little weirder because I had considered, what if she actually
siblings?
Very likely half siblings, yeah.
So Arya sips her watered-down wine and just watches and kind of ruminates that across the square, men swayed in cages rotting, but inside the Peach, which is the name of the inn...
Of course it is.
Everyone was jolly, and... Arya thinks that they're all laughing a little bit too hard, so she's picking up on the stress.
Well, that's that. That's that adult forced fucking laughter of like I'm laughing way hard, like they're having a good time. But she's doing it.
She's aware that they're all aware that there's some shit that just went down. There's gonna be something that happens because of this. Orders were defied. The Huntsman ordered them up there. These men are directly under Lord Berric Dondarrion. Like, something's gotta give here, and yeah, ale is fun, and I'm gonna go get laid because of a whore. And she debates running off again, but knows she'll be caught because Harwin's a badass.
Yeah.
And as the night grows late, she sees Lem and Harwin talking to the innkeep.
Yeah, about the release of Jaime Lannister. She hears the recounting of Catelyn Stark and this other wench coming in and freeing him, and it's blowing Arya's fucking mind because she doesn't comprehend in what world her mother would ever release Jaime Lannister. That just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Also, the innkeep's name is Tansy.
Yes.
Yeah, liked that. But yeah, she thinks it's not true. She feels again sad, angry, and lonely all at once now. Poor girl. Then a gross old man sits down. Tries asking her name and all sorts of gross shit before, for half a heartbeat, she forgets who she's supposed to be. And that is the most telling. That's the response to all this Stark shit getting thrown in her face, that these wolves are terrible people and her mother just freed Jaime Lannister. What the fuck is going on?
Right, she's got this guy kind of attacking at her. And
if you've watched Bo Burnham's new special, what the fuck is going on? Like, Arya just...
She wants to act like a wolf and snap at him, but am I a wolf? Am I them? And then, like, just now hearing that her mother did all that, releasing Jaime Lannister, she's like, is that who I am? Am I one of those people? Do I belong in a cage out there right now? Like, what is...
Gendry steps in, saves her by saying that she's his sister, and tells the old man to leave, and he does. And Arya asks why he said that. He's not her brother, and he gets fucking pissed at this. Ooh, I bumped the microphone.
You son of a bitch. Wow. You motherfucking asshole. So I think that the reason she gets so offended here is, and we've mentioned it in the past, that there's while she might not recognize it, something of an attraction to him in that defensive...
I don't see any defensive in this. I think it's pure curiosity of, like...
Oh, why'd you do that?
Like, you could have just said, like, come off it, get the fuck out of here. Like, why'd you name me, like, your sister to save me? That's an interesting one. Like, I feel it's purely innocent. I don't see it as I mean, maybe... There's an attraction.
But to me, it was more not even defensive. Just why my sister though?
Right,
because you couldn't have said like I don't know anything else that doesn't make them related type thing. I think that's all it was for.
Yeah,
But I guess that's just me being a fucking gross man.
Yeah. Well, then Gendry gets super angry. He says, of course, he's too lowborn to be your brother. Tells her to go away so he can drink in peace and maybe he'll go get Bella and ring her Bellaheimer too, and then, yeah, she whirls and leaves. Like, obviously Gendry is having some feelings here, right. And it's interesting enough that he basically threatens her with Bella. Like,
yeah,
that's obviously one of the biggest things for their romantic interest, I would say, is that, like, clearly here Gendry's got some conflicting feelings about what's going on with Arya. And Arya may as well. I
don't know that she does just yet, though, because she is still fairly young, and so that's, understand what there might be feelings for, but...
And so she does leave him and think he's just a stupid bastard's boy.
They kind of, and they go to bed, basically,
She goes to bed, which is, just one big bed in a room.
And everybody kind of leads into there throughout the night and ends up there in the morning.
She climbs in, says her prayers, mixes up the order to remember each and every one and what they had done, which I love.
Which is her little prayer
And she thinks that maybe some of them are already dead and rotting in cages. And then she dreams of wolves stalking through wet woods. She's fierce and strong and swift, everything that she was just not.
And her pack is around her.
She knew nothing of fear. And they take down a horse, and when the moon broke, she threw back her head and fucking howled. So, yeah, I mean, literally everything that she is not in life. Strong, swift, and fierce right now, because right now she's going through some shit.
Yeah.
And she has her pack. Like, it's just such a good reflection. And Nymeria is killing it and gathering that pack. And so she awakes to the sound of barking, braying dogs. Even though all the others are asleep around her, she goes over to the window. And below in the square, the dogs are barking and running in circles, a whole pack of them. And a dozen riders sit on horses watching as the townsman empties out the fat man's cage, and the dogs immediately rip him apart.
Just to make room to shove a bigger man in there. It blows my mind how many fucking dogs there are in this courtyard. Because I think they said like 80 or something like that, which is a big number of fucking dogs.
One of the riders laughs and says, "Here's your new castle, you bloody Lannister bastard," which is funny because, as we know...
He hates the fucking Lannisters.
Right. So, a prisoner sits sullen, wrists tied, as the townsman threw dung at him, but he gave no reaction. And they just continue joking, saying they're going to spend his Lannister gold and they'll send what's left of him to his brother, though we doubt he'll know you. And again, this is Martin leaning heavy-handed, but then also being like, on the sly here, there's a little bit.
Right, because it makes it seem like they've got Jaime Lannister.
Yeah.
We're going to send it to Tyrion, and you're not going to be recognizable, and so, obviously... Full spoiler, so if you didn't know that before, we said it. Shouldn't be here. Your fault. It's the Hound, and they're going to send it to the Mountain. Wouldn't give a flying fuck.
Oh, yeah, no.
But, yeah, because she goes and, Arya goes and wakes everybody up.
Well, the others wake up. Gendry and Tom come up beside her, and Tom immediately asks Lem where Greenwood is, and he's off with the girl, and he says, best find him.
Greenbeard? Green something.
Greenbeard. Yeah, not Greenwood. Jesus.
Whatever.
Greenbeard. Yeah. Best find him. The archer, too. the Huntsman's back with another man for the cages. And Arya's like, is it Lannister? I heard him say Lannister. And Gendry's like, yo, the Kingslayer? Like, shit. Kingslayer? And then a thrown stone hits the captive's cheek, turning his head, and Arya is able to recognize him as the Hound and thinks that the gods have answered her prayers.
Put one of her named in the cage. Just
Micah
like
the Butcher's Boy, yo. Yeah. This has been one of the longest names on her list.
I think the first on her list,
right.
technically.
I think her list started with like 3
Joffrey
names.
And Cersei
and the Hound. And so, one of the original. And that's the end of Arya, yo.
I guess we should know Martin didn't ever actually say it's the Hound.
No, right, yeah. It ends in some ambiguity, but... as you said, we know.
Fucking sweet chapter.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts on it quick before we go to the small council?
It was cool.
We're pretty succinct there. So we will close this out and convene our small council. We'll be back. Welcome to the small council, where we are going to give our wonderful inductees.
Shout out to the fucking Hound for just getting shit thrown at him and just not giving a fuck.
What fuck does he have to give at this point?
That's what I mean. Just being so resigned to it. Of like, fuck these stupid motherfuckers.
So that's Zach's inductee. We will... No, I'm just kidding.
The Hound, for that. He doesn't... Just his wrists are tied. Like, I feel like that's not really enough for the Hound if you really are trying to get the Hound. So I'm surprised that he's so submissive, but, like, it's an interesting, he's just kind of resigned to his fate. He got this far from the Blackwater.
Which is interesting to see here as he's going to be coming into the...
And then taking a much more active role here, right. In the next coming Arya chapters. Yeah, he'll have a...
It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
it's the beginning of the Arya Hound chapters.
And it's sort of almost like you could view it as the after effects of Sansa, where, like, this was the residual of his conversation with Sansa and probably the drunken stupor that he's been in for the last fucking week and a half as he's been fleeing. And so, like, now the Hound is going to start leaking back because he's back among the fucking savages, these brutal Northmen. And
he fits right in.
Right, and so I almost see it as, like, that was Sansa's influence riding into town.
Yeah.
Where he's just kind of literally taking it on the cheek and turning the other cheek.
Then Arya is going to get involved.
And then Arya gets involved, and it's more that vengeance. And not just Arya, but the lay of the land, the war around him. Yeah. He's got to lean
He's not in the castle behind these walls protecting. Right. He's not on guard duty in that capacity anymore.
So unintentional to the Hound, but yeah, the Hound.
Sweet. I'm giving mine to Lemon Cloak because he's already a member of the Brotherhood, and it's cool to start inducting them now that we are actually spending time with them. Also, if he's actually Richard Lonmouth and he's
it's a neat
played this long con and can pull that off, and then just end up putting Jon Snow back up on the throne, whether that's actually what happens or not.
For sure.
But, like, just that thought that he could be...
Far-reaching goals are always neat to see.
He could absolutely be a pivotal character in this, and the way that he seems to be evolving with where he's going to, again, don the Hound's persona. He's going to take that helmet. I don't know that it's been confirmed, but we're pretty sure it's confirmed.
I think it's confirmed that it was Lem.
And so... It's just neat to see that evolution of he's fairly passive. He gets pretty fucked up here and there and, has bones broken. Didn't Arya break a bone on him, his thumb or some shit like that, and that pissed him off? His nose, that was it. So, we're going to go with him just in the sweet hopes that he's a badass Richard Lonmouth that's playing a long game. So, that will be mine. We did get an emailed in write-in from the lovely Karen. Let me... pull up this email here.
Yeah.
And so Karen, there it is. Here we go. She did mention the Nymeria dream sequence, which was cool, and then she also brought up the 3 criminals she let out in the fire.
Yeah.
Yep. But her inductee goes to John Con. She says, our first, I think, introduction to this poor lovesick fool. Happy Pride, as we are all fairly certain, I think it's confirmed, that he loved Mr. Rhaegar Targaryen.
Yes, he did.
Of course he did.
Of course he did.
And that's a lovely romance that we are very upset with.
John Con breaks my heart, man.
Yeah, he's a lovely, lovely guy.
Yes, he was all about Rhaegar. And who the fuck isn't? Like, don't even.
Sorry, I raised my hand. But
If you had this beautiful man strolling down through the city playing his harp, I don't care if you're heterosexual.
It's... This
He's
man
got a voice like an angel.
If he comes out singing
like a baby
I read in a
angel.
book that I need to leave my wife and fuck you instead. Goodbye, old wife.
All right.
And
If
then
you're
all of a
coming
sudden,
at it all factual and not at all fucking like the fairy tale that I want it to be, then get out of my face.
Gotcha.
Also, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Kristen, who is now on A Storm of Swords.
Yeah, so it's been
1 week since you looked at me.
Nice,
dude. Got your back.
She writes in and she apologizes for the length of her write-ins, and sorry, I had to clear my throat without being loud and obnoxious. She apologizes for it, but damn it, she brings up such great stuff, and like, don't ever apologize for writing us stupid long fucking write-outs about this stuff, because that's what we do this for, is to get that shit from you guys. So like,
distract us from real life.
give it to us.
Okay,
Sorry,
all right. That's a Patreon subscriber thing. And we're super pumped that you're on Storm now, because you seem to be flying right through, and your thoughts on Catelyn and Jaime were great. You said that you didn't really enjoy the Catelyn chapters as much, which I understand not many people do. I would think Nate agrees now that the him having two young kiddos has sort of given a different perspective. We are certainly a little more,
I guess that makes sense.
accepting of the young children, whereas before,
I still only like my kids.
Well, right, that it's still really only Nate's kids that are acceptable,
and even they
me.
push my
and right, even that.
But that's just because they're my kids.
My stupid friends are having stupid
So yeah, if you would like to write in like Kristen does, you can send us an email, withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. We have our Facebook group. People post on there sometimes. We also post on there sometimes. Facebook.com/brotherhoodpodcast. There's a private Facebook group for people who join us on Patreon, where we also release some bonus episodes as often as we're able to get them out. Currently, we're working on re-recording the second part of our Duncan Egg series, which will be 3 parts for the first section, the first short story there.
Yeah, we think so, yeah.
So that's going to be pretty cool.
Part 2 will be out soon.
Soon.
Next, we're reading...
Patreon, though, is patreon.com/withoutmanners. And I'm on Twitter @mannerswithout. Zach's over there @carstark92. We have an Instagram, I think, probably. And leave us reviews. Apple Podcasts, search Brotherhood Without Manners. Spotify, I don't think you can leave reviews, but you can go and fucking check us out over there. Subscribe over there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Google Podcasts. Leave us reviews wherever you can. RateThisPodcast.com/Brotherhood will get you to this place that's like quick, easy link for whatever platform you prefer to use. And so just do that, yo. And we will love you forever. Zach, next episode we are recording John 4?
Yeah.
Johnny 4.
It's a very short chapter. John's going up the wall quick. And it may get attached to Jaime the following, depending on, we got to feel it out, because I believe we haven't recorded, we didn't lose John.
We
were set up to record John, and that was when the catastrophic failure happened.
And then we had to
so we should be good for there. We were questioning. We had originally intended on attaching John to this episode with the ones we originally recorded, and then that all fell apart. So it may get jumped onto Jaime, but it may just be a short one.
It depends. We may get wordy, and it could be a regular length. Who knows? But we'll see when that happens. We also we teased it back when we started this book. Still plan on getting guests. We have guests that are expected on a few upcoming chapters, so I'll be still working on coordinating with them and getting that out as well, because we always love having people join us over here to speak on these characters.
Tight. We've rambled our asses off enough.
I think that's about
That'll
it.
Do we
have anything else?
No. Catch us on John 4.
Valor to Harris.
Peace.